Okay, we're live.
Morning. This is Friday, April 28, 2023, our last meeting in April. And we're getting close to the end of the legislative session. And we're taking up H53, which deals with driving with license suspended. And the Senate passed the bill. And now we have a further House proposal amendment to the Senate proposal amendment. And luckily we have Anthea Dexter Cooper here to offer us some wisdom.
Okay, so for the record, Anthea Dexter Cooper from the Office of Legislative Counsel. I will put up on your screen the 3 columns side by side, which is going to show you H53 as it passed the House, H53 with the Senate's proposal of amendment, and then H53 with the House proposal of amendment to the Senate's proposal of amendment. So to refresh your memory, you didn't change anything about the substance of the bill. You split what was an implementation and effective date section into 2 sections and had the bill take effect 30 days after passage as opposed to on passage to make it administratively feasible for the Department of Motor Vehicles to kind of stop the suspensions, but not have to claw back suspension notices that had already been mailed out as required under the current law. What the House is proposing is to keep everything that you did, so still no change to the underlying purpose of the bill, which is to stop the suspension of licenses for non-payment of moving violations. They changed nothing about your implementation section. They changed nothing about the effective date, with it being effective 30 days after passage for purposes of the suspensions. What they did was add in 2 new sections, sections 3 and 4. Section 3 provides some legislative findings, kind of linking the stopping of suspensions for the non-payment of moving violations in section 1 to what is then going to be happening in section 4, which is a change to marriage license filing fees. So the legislative findings lay out that link. So the General Assembly finds that the Domestic and Sexual Violence Special Fund, which receives $10 from each Judicial Bureau surcharge, might, and that comes from the fiscal note that you had on H53, see decreased revenue or delayed revenue coming in if people are not as incentivized to pay their ticket to avoid suspension. It then goes on to say that because there might be this reduction in revenue to that special fund, there is a need for an increased revenue source to ensure sufficient grant funding for the Vermont Network Against Domestic and Sexual Violence and for the Criminal Justice Training Council position dedicated to domestic violence training. And that comes from the statutory purpose section for that special fund. And then in section 4, this is where you're getting that increased revenue source. It's taking what is currently a $60 fee for recording a civil marriage license and raising it to $80. Instead of $10 going to the town clerk where that's processed, it would be $15. So an increase of $5 per marriage license going to the town clerk, and then taking the share of $35 that currently goes to that special fund and increasing it by $15, bringing it to $50, and then keeping the general fund whole, and the general fund gets the last $15. So if you're doing your math, $80 would be the new fee, $15 to the clerks, $35 to the special fund, and $15 to the general fund. And then for purposes of the effective dates, that increase in the license fees would take effect on July 1 of 2023. Everything else would take effect 30 days after passage, as was in your version of the bill. And then after passage, the act title would be changed to reflect the fact that it's now doing 2 things as opposed to just 1 thing. So that's what the House did with your amendment. Take this down.
I appreciate the walkthrough. That's very helpful. However, I don't believe this committee's role is to adopt fees, whether we support them or don't. And I certainly support the effort to renew funding for the Domestic Sexual Violence Special Fund, although we've tried to be accommodating in the appropriations committee to the needs and recognize the lost revenue. But I don't feel that we can do that. So I'm going to recommend that this committee, is this bill on the notice calendar or where is it?
I believe it is on the notice calendar because it came over from the other body, but since it's not been referred to you, I think if you wanted your colleagues in Senate Finance to look at it, it would just be asking them to, not officially having anything moved.
How do the committee feel about it?
I think that makes sense, sending it over to, or asking finance to look at it, because I mean, I don't see marriage licensing fees as really our, as you were saying, Senator Sears, it's not really our area.
And it is on the notice calendar for today.
It is. Okay. Well, would the vice chair mind speaking with Senator Cummings to let her know?
Did you say the vice chair? I'd be happy to. You just kind of cut out.
Yes, the vice chair. I'm not there in person, and it'd probably be better to give her a heads up.
Yep. I can reach out to her.
And I don't, if she would like it referred to the Committee on Finance, that's fine with me, or if she just wants to leave it and pass over it until they've had a chance to look at it, that's fine with me. I just don't feel comfortable saying we support this without having finance having had a chance to look at it and give their seal of approval. And I doubt many people, I doubt many town clerks would be aware of this at this juncture. Is there any objection to doing that?
Not here. I think it makes sense.
That really is the only change.
Correct.
Does the administration have any, people in the room have anything they want to say about this?
Not seeing
While
it
you're
here.
here. Okay.
Oh, Jessica.
I mean, I have testimony prepared if you want to.
I would be happy to hear it.
Hi all, Jessica Barquist from the Vermont Network Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. So this amendment came from, it was a joint amendment between House Judiciary and House Ways and Means, and both committees voted on it. And I'd be happy to give you a little bit more background behind it if the committee wants,
Yeah.
but also don't have to if you all are not going to take it up.
We'd appreciate the background.
Sure. So this amendment is going to allocate a portion of the revenue from marriage license fees to the Domestic and Sexual Violence Special Fund, which is currently experiencing a projected deficit of about $350,000 due to declining revenues. And this is primarily in large part due to a number of policy changes, like the one presented in this bill, many of which we have wholeheartedly supported, that reduce the burden of court fines and fees on individuals. So this fund was established in 2008 and is administered by the Vermont Center for Crime Victim Services. And it is the primary revenue source for critically important services for victims, as well as service systems that improve public responses to domestic and sexual violence. So the revenues for this fund are currently comprised of a portion of two revenue sources, a surcharge on criminal and civil judgments, and then a portion of this marriage fee. So currently, out of the $60 marriage license fee, $35 goes to the special fund, 10 is retained by the town clerk, and 15 goes into the general fund. And this nets us approximately $900,000 annually to support the provision of statewide and local victim services. And there's a whole host of things that this fund funds. It's not just our local domestic and sexual violence programs, but there is also about $90,000 a year that's distributed as direct support to survivors. It funds the Deaf Vermonters Advocacy Services. It funds Safe Space at the Pride Center of Vermont, which is our statewide anti-violence program that provides advocacy services to victims of crime who are LGBTQIA+. It provides staffing for the Vermont Council on Domestic Violence. And I sent Peggy a 2022 Joint Fiscal Office report on the status of our crime victim special funds. And this was one of the many recommendations that they outlined for potential policy solutions to kind of help remedy the deficits in this fund. And so this amendment would increase the marriage license fee from $60 to $80. And of that $20 increase, an additional $5 will go to the town clerks. And then the remaining 15 will be allocated to this fund, which JFO has estimated will result in a $72,000 increase in special fund revenue. And this increase is critical to maintaining current levels of services for victims across the state. So even if you decide it's not your committee's jurisdiction, we would love your committee's support in supporting this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. It's not a lack of support, it's a lack of jurisdiction. And I'm making that clear. I understand the special fund and the difficulties that the network programs face in terms of funding. And it's unfortunate that we continue to try to work on it through the budget process, but it doesn't always reflect in what you actually need to operate and to do the good work you're doing. I just feel uncomfortable in approving a fee increase. I don't feel uncomfortable in saying this, you know, if it's okay with finance, it's all right with me. I guess that's where I would put it, whether it's a formal vote or not a formal vote. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this? So Senator Hashim will speak with Senator Cummings, let her know it's there, and she can do whatever, whether they want it referred to them or they want it to be just passed over until they have a chance to look at these.
Sounds good. Just so you know, Senator Sears, Peggy's helping me out. She's emailing Senator Cummings, and I'll catch up with her in person whenever we have a break or a bit later in the day.
Good. I think we're fine, and we can actually take a little break right now and get back at 9:45 when we have the judges coming in.
Sounds good.